Hello, traders. You are watching a fresh review of the New York session. On Wednesday, Wall Street was overwhelmed by pessimism again. Traders were unnerved by price gyration. Major stock indexes closed in the red, and the pre-market also revealed gloomy sentiment. It seems that Wall Street is braced for the protracted sell-offs. The Dow Jones closed yesterday 1.02% down. The Nasdaq closed 3.18%, having recorded the sharpest five-day fall since March 2020. The S&P 500 shed 1.65% to close at 3,935 points. The pre-market today was also bearish, with the key stock indexes losing 0.5 or 1.5%. Another gloomy day is ahead today. The S&P 500 is expected to trade in the corridor between 3,840 and 3,960 points. Recently, U.S. inflation data showed that the CPI was higher than expected last month. In this context, stock investors lost appetite for risk as they were spooked by a looming recession. Investors hoped that inflation had topped out in April, and now they were anticipating radical moves from the US Fed. The fear and the greed index on Wall Street climbed above the level of 30 for 5 days straight. Stocks of high-tech giants such as Meta, Microsoft, Alphabet, Amazon, Tesla, Intel and Nvidia dropped 1 to 2% in the pre-market. Apple has lost its status as the most valuable company. Saudi Aramco outpaced the high-tech behemoth after its stocks surpassed $2.4 trillion. Walt Disney stocks also lost value in light of a weak report on corporate earnings and warnings about disrupted supply chains. As the result, its shares slumped by 4.8%. The fundamental background does not promise an uptrend on Wall Street in the near future. Besides, some analysts reckon that despite a significant decline in recent days, stocks remain at elevated levels. Technical indicators prove the bearish sentiment. The U.S. inflation data made an opposite effect on the U.S. dollar. Its index grew 0.4% to 104.45, the strongest level since December 2002. Today, it's trading higher, benefiting from the Fed's hawkish rhetoric. The index is likely to trade in the corridor between 103.90 and 104.70 today. Market participants are raising expectations of a few sharp rate hikes that are bullish for the U.S. currency. The recent data suggests that inflation could have reached its ceiling, though it's unlikely to ease in the visible future. The U.S. dollar index has printed a higher high in the last 2 decades. The Labor Department released a weekly update with worrisome data. The number of initial unemployment claims increased by 1,000 to 203,000 last week versus 2,000 in the previous week. Economists had expected a 195,000 increase. The fresh reading is the highest since mid-February. At the same time, the labor market remains healthy. The greenback is holding the upper hand in the USD CAD pair. The trading instrument grew 0.4% and settled above the landmark level of 1.3000. The intraday corridor is defined between 1.2980 and 1.3070. The loonie is losing favor with investors amid global risk aversion. The energy market, with a could support the commodity currency, proved itself unstable. Following a rally, oil prices are trading lower today. Brent crude closed $2.26 to trade at $105.25 a barrel. WTI slipped 2.3% to trade at $103.26, and the oil market is wound down by troublesome China geopolitical risks and the fears of a slowdown in the global economy. However, the firm US dollar is ruling the currency pair, so the loonie is doomed to weakness. The crypto market set a new anti-record yesterday. The heavyweight tokens like Bitcoin are rapidly losing value. Bitcoin sank below 25,000 on Wednesday to the lowest level since December 2020. Now the crypto is trading at about $27,960 without any signs of a recovery. The market sentiment is clear-cut bearish, following a slump in the Terra USD stablecoin and the Luna, which plummeted 98% in the last 2 days. Tether is also taking a nosedive. The token declined to $0.95 due to panic among crypto investors. According to CoinMarketCap, the crypto market has shrank by more than $500 billion over the last week, and the bottom is still ahead. Bitcoin is suffering the worst losses. For the time being, the flagship crypto has lost 60% from its record high at $69,000. The CAD for Bitcoin is seen between $29,200 and $23,800 today. To sum up, markets of risky assets are overwhelmed by pessimism. Every cloud has a silver lining. You are sure to find trading instruments that suggest nice investment opportunities. Good luck and see you tomorrow.